on to the second best team in the comp, the 2020 minor premiers. They fall just barely short in their quest to repeat that this year. But we got the Port Adelaide Power, and the Port Adelaide Power, after their come from behind win against the Western Bulldogs, that was absolutely devastating to the Bulldogs, and a really good momentum swinger for Port Adelaide here. And I mean, so the thing that really is, you think I think Travis Boak might be a little bit underrated. He could be a huge key come finals here. Obviously, you're going to have some of the bigger names, like Charlie Dixon. You got possible Brownlow medalist Ollie Wines that's going to dominate in that midfield. So he's going to be an absolute force that you're going to have to watch out for there. The whole thing though, it's like last season I wasn't super confident in Port Adelaide. Of course, they made to the preliminary finals there, but they lost in that round. This whole season, at least for for 2/3 of it, they just looked like flat track bullies. They looked like guys that were really good against non-top 8 teams, but then would always lose against the top 8 teams. And over the last couple of rounds, they've been able to stop or at least slow the conversation on that talk a little bit, and so that gives me a little bit of confidence in them. But overall, what we've seen from the season is that when it comes to real competition, a lot of the times they're not able to get things done. So that might be the biggest reason why they can't win the grand final this year.
All right, so just because we have the same reason why they won't, I think they haven't. Like, we can all attest to it. We all watch footy. We know Port doesn't beat top teams. Even though I did tip them to win the Dogs, that's really mostly a testament to the Dogs' recent form rather than what Port can do or what Port will do, rather, because we all know Port can be good with how well-structured the roster is and stuff like that. But they won't win because, and I'm going to say they're not going to win the premiership. I'm going to put it right here because it's a far cry to say that they're going to win 3-4 in a row against top 8 teams. It's just not going to happen. I just don't believe in that. So they're not going to win the grand final. The reason why they will is because they really have great players at each level. They have Alir, who's been crazy, ridiculous key defender this year, especially in recent weeks. You have Ollie Wines, like you touched on, and I think he's really the reason why Trav Boak is really underrated this year, why he didn't make All-Australian. You have those players. You have Connor Rosie, who can show when he wants to, when he comes in and affects the game. He's pretty hard to stop. And you have all the forwards. You have Marshall, you have Georgiades, you have Dixon, you have Robbie Gray. It's just, how can you not win a championship with all those numbers? Right. But you just can't beat any good teams, and it's just crazy. So that's why they can and can't.
Yeah, Port has the best looking team on paper. I've been saying that all year. They just seem like they have all their bases covered. On top of that, I think they've been the most consistent team all year, even though they haven't beat any teams in the 8. They have consistently done that all year. So that's why I have so much problem with believing that they're gonna make it far in the finals because of that. Their most convincing game was this last game against the Dogs, and I don't even think that was convincing. Dogs definitely could have put that game away if they just put the points on the board, and they didn't do that.
They weren't even playing their best at home.
Yeah, Port is another team also that plays at their own pace. They usually kind of have a slow start the first half and then get going in the second. And a lot of these top teams, that's just not going to fly. You have to play all 4 quarters at top capacity, and Port isn't a team that always does that. So I really just don't see them getting that far in the finals like that.
Okay, I love the comments. I appreciate it. Hey, Ross, can you remember who did I have winning the grand final at the start of the season?
I think you're kind of spot on this one with this one.
I had
so for
Port
your
Adelaide.
Tip, you're very good with the grand final tip.
Yeah, well, I had Port Adelaide winning the whole thing at the start of the season, and for me, Port Adelaide, I completely agree. They are on paper the scariest team because there is talent in each and every section of the field. It's damaging. It does a lot of things. The thing is, I completely agree, but I think the reason that they've been so inconsistent is because of some of the injuries that they had. Zach Butters was gone most of this season. Connor Rosie was injured for a good portion of the season. Orazio Fantasia, as deadly as he is just not consistently been on the park. And Xavier Dersma. There's 4 of some of your better players. Robbie Gray's been injured. So this is a Port team that has not really been at 100% most of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that's one of the reasons why I like Port going into this finals, because none of these teams have really seen the best Port this year. I don't think Port's played to its best. I think they might be one of these sleeper teams in the top four because we really don't know what their best footy is because they haven't played it. And for me, I'd rather be playing my best footy now than round 2, 4, 8, 10, 12, 16. I want to play it now.
Okay, so
because go ahead.
Okay, so but listen, the question is, since Port hasn't played their best footy, do they even know what their best footy is? Let's keep that in mind. So can we just assume that okay, their best footy is going to get played? We don't even know that because they don't even know that.
This is a good point.
That's how I feel about that.
No.
And just to be defensive, I picked them as my minor premiership. My minor premiere is preseason. Mm-hmm. So me and you are kind of on the same boat.
Yep. I had Port. I had Port winning the whole entire thing this year, and I think I had them finishing second, I think, as well. So, but I don't know. I've had this belief in them all season. Call it blind loyalty, call it blindness. I don't know what it is. But as you just said, you've kind of actually given me my reason why they can't, because we don't know.
Yeah.
Can they play their best footy come finals time? The one thing that I think maybe the sneaky advantage that they have is because they finished second, they're playing all their games at the Adelaide Oval. Most of the other games are not being played at a home team's home ground. So they're going to have a massive advantage, at least for this one. Now, there's still kind of conjecture on whether they'll play the preliminary. If they win, will they play their preliminary round game at the Adelaide Oval, or will it be in Perth or the Gabba? We don't know. Right now, that's still up in the air. But if they do, that's a massive advantage just before the grand final. That could get them to a grand final when then you've only got to win one game on foreign soil to win a premiership.
Sure.
That's going to be a tough one, man. This team is either going to be extremely, I guess, exciting, and or they're going to disappoint a lot of people. It's this weird enigma that they have around them. So obviously, it's going to be a storyline to watch. But